Thank you everyone for coming to hear us talk about our alternative spring break trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are so excited to share everything that we learned and experienced with you guys. So what we did in Albuquerque, I'll just give you some sights and things that we did. We got there on Sunday, and we started our service work on Monday. And some service sites that we went to, we did the New Mexico Ramp Project, where students went and built ramps for people that are disabled and needed ramps added to their homes. We did the City of Albuquerque Department of Senior Affairs, where people went and cleaned up some backyards of people's houses that they could no longer manage, which is much, much, much needed in the area. And we went to the Rock at Noonday, which is a day shelter, and where a lot of us got to prep food and serve the community there. And we also, what else did we do? We did a lot of things. Camino de Vida, which was a week-long project where we made an outdoor worship space for a all Spanish-speaking congregation, and we did a lot of gardening and planting and things like that. And we all had a very, very good time, and we made this video. I made this video showing how much of a good time we had. This is just gonna show basically like beginning to end of our trip and all the fun memories that we made with each other. So. Now we'll have time for some reflections. Mercy.
Hi everyone, good morning. Yeah, as you can see, the video was super fun. Like, we did a lot of stuff. We tried new food and we learned their culture. Yeah, I just wrote down all the details that you just saw in the video, so I won't go through all of that. But something that I really enjoyed for me is building the ramp, because like after we're done, like we can see the grandma. I'll say the grandma, because like they're seniors and they're so happy, you know, like to see how happy they are, like the smile and like the food that they make for us. But the reason is that like she can't really express, like, because she don't know how to speak English. So that's the reason why we don't really know how, like what she's saying, but like we can see it, like the joy and the happiness in her. And like, I'll say it's a successful trip to just see them, you know, like making someone happy and helping them make their life easier. Yeah, I personally had a lot of experience and fun, because like to get to know people and to get out of the snow for a week and to also like build a lot of projects. And the other thing that I like is the homeless people. We were feeding the homeless people like breakfast and lunch, but during the time when we were like handing out the food, I was so emotional. Like I was like about to cry, but like I controlled myself so much, because like to see them, you know, their life being so miserable and like that they don't have any place to sleep, like it just made me so emotional. And but also I'm happy that they're having that kind of help, that like they're feeding food and they give like soap, towels, and bathroom to, you know, shower, and then they even wash their clothes. So I'm like so happy for them, like for the people who did that to the homeless people. And at the moment, something that stood up for me was like, I've been like complaining my life, like what I'm eating, like, you know, even if there's like a bunch of food, I still like picky, you know, or like the clothes that I wear, like you're just like, you just seem like it's not enough, like you want more. But seeing them like happy with themselves, like what they got to eat, like they even save the, you know, like we feed like eggs, donuts, and some bread. They even put the donuts aside to eat later, like, you know, like how much like they save for like later. They don't even have food for later. And like, you know, like to see them, I don't know how to explain, but it's just so emotional for me personally. Like I cannot put myself in their situation, you know. Yeah, and this trip like really teach me a lot of lessons to myself. And yeah, and also one of the other things that I like is the sewing machine, not machine, but the sewing, like they put like clothes together. There's like a piece of clothes, and then we just, you know, combine it together, and then it just make like a blanket kind of thing. And then they even like send that to people who need, like, you know, like people who need it. So like, and those kind of experience, like I would never think of doing that, like that stuff. Like I'm just so happy that I, you know, fill up the form to go to the trip and meet like a wonderful people here and doing a lot of projects to help people, and to see the progress and happy and make people smile and, you know, joy. It's just such a successful trip. And the last thing I want to say, you know, when it's a funny part, like I just want to add with like some funny story. When I went to the homeless shelter, there was a guy. She was like talking to me. He's like, "Hi, thank you so much for doing this." I was like, "You're most welcome. Enjoy the food," because he's like a disabled person, so we feed to the table. And then he's like, "Where are you from?" And then I was like, "I'm from India." And then he didn't hear me, so he was like, "Are you from China? China? Like, are you Chinese?" I was like, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I know I don't look like Indian, but But I said, I'm from India. I said, oh, India! And I was like, yeah, India. So yeah, thank you everyone, and it's good to see everyone again. And yeah, thank you for the trip. Thank you.
It's still morning, right? Okay, good morning, yes. My name is Sebastian. So my experience on the trip was, I enjoyed it quite a bit. A lot, actually. One, there was no snow, so that was pretty nice. But at the same time, no, during that trip, it was a lot different than what I was expecting. Part of me was like, you know what, I get to go in the sun, enjoy myself. And then I realized, oh gosh, I got to go work. Do some hard work. But you know, I wasn't complaining about it. I'm like, let's do some work then. Let's go help a community. So one of the few workshops or places that we went to that really got to me was El Camino de Vida. So again, it was just a church, and when you look behind, it didn't look very much. They were working on something, but you know, they were in the process. So I believe day one was El Camino de Vida for me. So I got to know the pastor, Pastor Guillermo, and he was a very relatable person. So I knew that's someone I was able to, you know, listen to. And coming from St. Cloud, it's almost like my old church. You know, he's also Guatemalan, just similar to me. Another group of Hispanics just gathering together for a religion together. So it felt very nice and very welcoming him home. Very like, and I spoke to him about where he's from, you know, how it's going on in the church and everything. So he was telling me stories with his family, but also even the church. So I think that really inspired me just to think like, yes, I think even back home they must have had similar situations to. They wanted to do the same thing, just to gather together, have a church build things. Because I know back home, they build a basketball too. They like to do a lot of gatherings in the community and even help around. So I think going to a Camino de Vida, helping in the back with gravel, and you know, doing a lot more work than I've ever thought in my life. But I did like it a lot. Another thing that's really inspired me was the community other than the Albuquerque community, even getting closer to my own community. And that includes a lot of the Augsburg University that going on the way to Albuquerque, didn't know anybody. Maybe one or two people, but like that's it. But on the way back, it was a whole different story. I used to be in the front. I was like, I'm just gonna listen to music, watch a little horror movie. That's it, you know? But on the way back, I was in the middle of the bus. I talked to a lot more people, get to know them, you know, even have some nice McDonald's on the way. It was very nice and fun to listen to. So I think getting closer to my own community was very nice, because just after 2 or 3 days of this week, I see a lot more people that I recognize. Be like, hey, Albuquerque? Be like, yeah. So, you know, great times, and I would totally do this again, for sure. And I would love to even do this for my own community in Minneapolis / even St. Cloud. Thank you very much.
Hi, so I'm Jack Friedman. I'm going to wing this, if that's okay. I don't have much written, but what I do know is that prior to the trip for spring break, I was planning to see a concert called The Midnight at First Avenue, and then get drunk with my friends afterwards, and I would be doing the same on March 19th as well. I'm of age, don't worry. But on a whim, I saw that there was something going on where you could go to Albuquerque for a week as for like a mission trip, and I was like, yeah, I think I'd do that. Instead, you know, I don't know what made me. Could have been anything, but I chose to go on this trip, and What I realized was I may have made the best decision of my life because it was an incredibly fulfilling and gratifying experience that brought me closer to people who I had no idea who they were a week prior, but then a week later I was closer to them than my siblings. Not really, but they were like siblings. I'm a sociology major, and one of the big things of sociology is obviously to explore human and human society. And other than, one thing to get closer to human society, other than just reading and being lectured about human society, is to be part of human society. And by doing so, you go out into the community, you work, and you help your neighbors, and that was exactly what I was doing. It's something more fruitful than any book or lecture could be given to me, and I'm just very thankful I got that experience. I usually think a lot of times, like, if I knew that what I did and never went on this trip, would I regret it for the rest of my life? And yeah, of course, the obvious answer would be yes, because all I would have been doing instead was doing things I would probably regret the next day. But the thing is that I'm doing something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And to have those memories when you're old and whatnot, and having those memories you can very distinctly remember, is something that I always think about, and something I'm happy to have been given on this break. And I'm so glad to have met everyone, and I think it's kind of convinced me to also re-examine my faith. This wasn't an absolutely religious trip, though we did stay in a church and whatnot, but I just kind of reflected on my relationship, I guess, with Jesus. My father's Jewish, my mother's Catholic, and I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic school. It wasn't the greatest experience, but that wasn't necessarily because of the religious aspect, but I thought it was. And I guess what I found is kind of what I was always looking for with faith is, to actually follow in the footsteps of Jesus, helping the people who need it most, loving the destitute, and overall just being part of your community. I think that's something that Jesus would have done thousands of years ago, and to best live by him is to do the same that he did. And I'm so thankful I did that. And yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. My name is Jasmine Kendall. I'm one of the Jasmine that was on this trip. I'm a biochem major. And, well, I did a project. One of the projects I did was the city of Albuquerque Senior Affairs project. For me, and as a biochem major, I found that project to be really interesting and really nice because for seeing seniors having the ability to live in their home all the year of their life and not being pushed out to go in a nursing home or sitting down in a place where you have to where you have to live your life by a set schedule made for you by other people. You can be in your home, in your community, in the place where you grew up. And the project that we did, they would come clean your yard, make ramps, and make sure they would deliver your mail, food, and make sure everything in your house is safety-wise, like there's no health hazard. So for me, that was a really big thing. That was a really nice thing, and seeing people, and even the woman yards that we clean, her face, her reaction after, she really invited us to come back and visit, especially in the summer. She has a peach tree in her yard. She's like, feel free to come and enjoy. The tree is open to any one of us because of how happy she was to see her yard, sorry. And, well, for me, this trip, I barely heard of it like a week before from my friends who were talking about it. I told them I was used to doing these things, doing community projects in high school, and basically getting my skin dirty, not having access to bathrooms. So doing this wasn't a big deal for me, but I just like giving back to people. That's like something I live for. And I can say really, one thing I'm really thankful for this trip is making friends. As some of the other people say, on the trip, going there 25 hours, everyone is just quiet, but the bus ride back, or from the second day, is a whole big bus of noise. So I was really thankful, I'm really happy for all you guys. I'm really glad to meet all of you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I just want to leave you all with this one thing that we heard. Some of us went to a Holden evening prayer while we were on the trip that our church that we stayed at was hosting. And their Holden evening prayer, they talked about service, which I thought was perfect for us because we were there to do service for their community. And the woman that sat right behind Sarah and I said, I used to ask God to help me, but now I ask God, what can I do to help him? And so hearing that, it really hit me because I was like, why was I on the trip? Why did any of us choose to go on the trip? We all chose to go and do God's work. So thank you all for coming and listening to all of our reflections. We had a great time, and I hope to see you guys around campus more.